What's up? This is Trey T, and in this video, I will be discussing several black sportscasters, commentators, and analysts, and how they discuss certain topics and discussions. Before I jump into the analysts and commentators, I'm going to first talk about a few of the topics that they have discussed over the years. Donald Sterling's racist comments, Ray Rice's domestic violence caught on video, recreational use of marijuana, LeBron James leaving for Miami, Kareem Hunt's domestic violence caught on tape, Brett Favre's welfare scandal, Colin Kaepernick's protesting during the national anthem, Kyrie Irving's vaccine stance, Kevin Durant leaving OKC to join Golden State, Michael Vick's dogfighting scandal, Kyrie Irving being accused of anti-Semitism, the lack of diversity in higher positions in the professional sports, Ime Udoka's cheating scandal, Washington changing its name from the R-Skins, Riley Cooper caught on tape using the N-word, Tom Brady retiring, then coming back and playing horrible, and the team playing horribly, Antonio Brown's behavior on and off the field, Baker Mayfield's struggles at quarterback, and also Deshaun Watson's sexual assault case. Those are some of the topics that have been discussed by these commentators over the years. So I'm just going to jump right into it with the different black commentators. First, I'm going to start off with Rob Parker. Rob Parker, like most of these commentators on this list, has gotten in trouble for some comments that they've made. Most of the people on this list haven't stayed at the same location their whole career. They made some comments and they either left of their own volition or they were fired. Rob Parker got in trouble one time because Michigan and Detroit, he used to write for the Lions, and he said something about one of the coach's wives I bet she wished she would have married a better coach, a defensive coordinator or something like that. And then Rob Parker got fired from that, or he left on his own volition. And then he got in trouble for saying that Robert Griffin, RG3, was black, but is he really a brother or is he a cornball brother? And to me, that shit, I remember that shit. That shit was so fucking funny because I had never heard that shit, especially from a black man before, a cornball brother. Like, he was like, is he a brother? Yeah, he does the black thing. He has the braids, but is he a brother or a cornball brother? And Rob Parker has been very critical of Tom Brady throughout his whole career. Instead, he calls Tom Brady the GOAT, the load, or something. It's something like that where he calls him like the luckiest player of all time instead of the great. It's something like that. But yeah, Rob Parker is passionate about some things, but I decided to put him on the list. I put 11 people on this list because I wanted a variety of people. Next, I have Kenny Smith from Inside the NBA, who works with Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson and Shaquille O'Neal. The thing about Kenny Smith is Kenny Smith talks like he's some kind of legend. That's really my only problem with he also tries to play both sides of the fence. Like, Kenny Smith is more neutral than anything. He's not as passionate about certain things as Charles Barkley or Shaq is. Kenny Smith likes he says a whole lot of stuff without actually saying anything. So like he'll go on these long rambles about something, and in the end he didn't even say anything. He didn't explain anything. He just said a whole bunch of random shit. But yeah, that's my take on Kenny Smith. He's more even-keeled. He don't go for the throat like a lot of these other commentators that I have on this list. Next, I have Chris Broussard. And the funny thing about Chris Broussard is, don't let the light skin fool you. Because even though Chris Broussard is light skinned and he's a preacher, Chris Broussard will get after you sometimes. I remember when he got after Jason Whitlock when LeBron James home, somebody had spray painted the N-word on LeBron James' gate or something like that, and Jason Whitlock tried to say that racism is more a poor person's problem rather than LeBron James' problem. It doesn't affect him. And then Chris Broussard was like, "Are you crazy?" and all this. And then Jason Whitlock was trying to tell him, "Well, this is my show," and blah, 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 blah. And I remember Chris Broussard, I don't care whose show it is. I'm on here now, and I'm going to say what I got to say. So Chris Broussard will get fired up about certain things. So I will say that about Chris Broussard. Him and Rob Parker currently do the Odd Couple podcast. So if you get a chance, check that out. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Chris Broussard. And the next commentator I want to talk about is Jemele Hill. If you've ever seen anything from Jemele Hill, you know Jemele Hill gonna fire back. Because Jemele Hill do not care. So Jemele Hill put some tweets out about Donald Trump when he was president, and she ended up getting fired from ESPN about it. But Jemele Hill just gonna tell her like it is. If it's something that she sees is wrong, she gonna call it out, no matter who it is. Then her and Kerry Champion did the "Won't Stick to Sports" because Laura Ingraham, when Kevin Durant and Kerry Champion and LeBron James were in the car, and then they were talking about Donald Trump and all this stuff, and then Laura Ingraham went on Fox News talking about must they run their mouths like that, as well. Someone once said, "Shut up and dribble," because those people always tell somebody to stick to sports. So I guess Kerry Champion and Jemele Hill decided to call their podcast "Won't Stick to Sports." But yeah, Jemele Hill, she always go come with that fire. And speaking of fire, the next person I have is Bo Money Jones. Bo Money Jones pissed so many people off, especially white people, when he went on TV and he wore a shirt that said Caucasians, basically trolling them because they were in so much support of the Washington Redskins and them having a picture of a Native American man as the mascot, that he wore a shirt that said Caucasians and had a picture of a white man on there with like a dollar sign on his hat. But yeah, Bo Money Jones, he always gonna come with that fire too. He gets into it with other commentators about stuff, certain things. So that's why I decided to put Bo Money Jones on this list. Next on the list, I have Michael Wilbon. Michael Wilbon been doing NBA Countdown for years, and he been doing Partner Interruption for years with Tony Kornheiser. I used to watch Partner Interruption and Around the Horn every day, like when I got off of work. I'm gonna be real, I don't even really watch ESPN that much anymore unless it's like Monday Night Football. I don't really watch First Take. I watch the clips on like YouTube, but I don't sit down and watch First Take. I'll watch Undisputed with Shannon, Sharpe, and Skip Bayless before I watch First Take. Like, because I don't really mess with ESPN like that anymore. But my biggest problem with Michael Wilbon is I have no problem people representing where they're from. And Michael Wilbon is from Chicago. But every single thing he talks about, he always go bring up Chicago somehow. If you talking about basketball, somehow he go bring up Michael Jordan and the Bulls from the 90s. Or you go bring up Derrick Rose. If you talking about football, somehow he go bring up Walter Payton and the Bears. Like, it's cool to represent where you from, but you don't got to do it like that all the time. Everything got to come back to Michael Jordan. Like, dude, stop it. It'd be funny if Michael Jordan just sitting back somewhere listening and be like, damn, I wish this dude would stop fucking talking about me all the time. I know he'd probably be thinking that shit about Skip Bayless' ass. But yeah, that's why I got Michael Wilbon on the list. Michael Wilbon get fired up about a whole bunch of stuff too. So those are the people who can talk about sports but also talk about real issues that go on in the world. The next commentator on my list is none other than the Diesel himself. the big Aristotle, Shaquille O'Neal, a.k.a. Shaq. Shaq, I feel like he plays both sides of the fence. Shaq is a kind-hearted man who will go out of his way. He'll just go to a store and just go tell people in the store, hey, you got 30 minutes to get what you want, then I'll pay for it. Or like when all these people, Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant, all these people selling these shoes for $100 or something, $80, $90, $200, whatever. Shaq made it to where a big name player, you can get shoes made by a big name player for only like less than $50. Shaq did that by selling them at Walmart. You weren't about to see Michael Jordan selling no Jordans in no damn Walmart. So those are some of the good things that Shaq does. But Shaq also with the whole Breonna Taylor thing, when he didn't feel like the police were in the wrong for killing Breonna Taylor, or he felt like certain situations with the police and the whole Black Lives Matter thing when unarmed black people were getting killed. So that's why I say Shaq, he likes to play both sides of the fence. You know, Shaq supposedly is a police officer, so of course he gonna be on that back the blue shit. But I feel like Shaq tries to play both sides of the fence. Now this next dude, you don't even have to worry about Jason Whitlock playing both sides of the fence. Jason Whitlock is one side of the fence and one side of the fence only. My problem with Jason Whitlock is everybody has the right to say what they want to say. But with Jason Whitlock, it seems like the only people he talk negatively about or talk down on is other black athletes or black people. I never hear him, like, he really was out there damn near basically defending Brett Favre. Like, when Shannon Sharpe was talking about Brett Favre, Jason Whitlock had the nerve to talk about Shannon Sharpe. Like, how are you doing that when Brett Favre was stealing money from people who needed the money? Or when he said that Serena Williams was overweight and she needed to lose some weight. Like, are you serious? Or like I said earlier about Chris Broussard, when he said that racism is more a factor for poor people and not rich people like LeBron James. Or when he had Kid from Kid and Play impersonate Kaepernick on the show, come on there with an afro and stuff and pretend to be kneeling and stuff like that. When he said Kaepernick didn't want to play and he was a sellout and all this, he was raised by white parents and all that type of shit. So the only thing I will say this about Jason Whitlock recently. Jason Whitlock has said the same shit that a lot of people, including myself, have said about this whole Kyrie Irving anti-Semitism shit. Why won't you tell everybody what's anti-Semitic about what Kyrie Irving did? And why aren't you going after Jeff Bezos, the man who actually is selling the stuff on Amazon? All Kyrie Irving did was just post a link to the movie on Amazon. Jeff Bezos is the one that's actually allowing it to be sold on Amazon. And also, that movie has been on Amazon for years. Why now do they have the outrage for Kyrie Irving? So yes, Jason Whitlock does say a lot of shit that I don't agree with. Like when he sat there, when LeVar Ball was on the show and Christine Leahy, and she tried to play victim, saying that LeVar Ball was threatening her, when anybody with common sense would know that all LeVar Ball was trying to say is, all the negative shit you had to say about me, about my sons, karma is going to come back to you. And she tried to play victim, telling us, oh, are you threatening me? And then not long after that, she left that show, and now Joy Taylor is the co-host on there with Colin Cowherd. But yeah, that's my problem with Jason Whitlock. He only plays one side of the fence. And like, he goes too hard. I don't hear him I never hear him talking negative about white people. It's always negative towards black people. And that's my problem that I have with Jason Whitlock. Most of the commentators on this list have all had run-ins with Jason Whitlock, which is crazy. Like, how is that possible where nobody fucks with you, like nobody like you? The next person on the list is none other than Sir Charles, Mr. Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley been the same since he was playing in the NBA. Charles Barkley gonna keep it real with you. He don't give a fuck. Like, Charles Barkley is gonna tell you how he feel, and he don't care about the backlash. Charles Barkley has gotten in trouble by so many people from the shit that he said on Inside the NBA, or he said on TV. Like, Charles Barkley do not care. Charles Barkley gonna tell her how it is. He played both sides of the fence too. Like, politics aside, he said he was gonna run for like governor of Alabama or some shit like that. He considers himself a Republican, but sometimes he votes democratically. He votes Democrat. He voted for Barack Obama. He went to visit Obama in the White House. Then when he said he was gonna run as an independent if he ran for governor, he gonna run as an independent. But yeah, he had a problem with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. He had a problem. He didn't have a problem with them acquitting George Zimmerman when he killed Trayvon Martin. So Charles Barkley, he had a problem with Donald Trump. He said some stuff about Donald Trump. So Charles Barkley just does both. Like, he not really on one side or the other. He just tell it like he feel. If one side does something he don't like, he go say it. If the other side does something he don't like, he don't say it. He once supposedly said Republicans are full of shit, and so are Democrats, but they full of less shit than Republicans. Like, so he just plays both. Like, he just tells how he feel. So that's why I have Charles Barkley on the list. And most people love Charles Barkley. And Charles Barkley, if you have not heard Charles Barkley talk about Skip Bayless, go on YouTube and type in Charles Barkley, Skip Bayless. Charles Barkley hates Skip Bayless with a passion. Go on YouTube and it's funny because it's been going on for years. Go on YouTube and type in Charles Barkley, Skip Bayless. The next commentator is Mr. Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is probably my favorite commentator out of all of these people, and then it's probably Charles Barkley. Me being a Bronco fan, so of course Shannon Sharpe is gonna be my favorite. Shannon Sharpe keep it real. Like, most of the shit that I have a problem with, Shannon Sharpe got a problem with. Like, the only thing that I will say, I feel like he goes way too hard for LeBron James, and that he rarely faults LeBron James for shit, but he faults other people. Also, I do feel like, even just like I talked about with the whole Jason Whitlock thing, the shit with Kyrie Irving, and I don't like Kyrie Irving at all, but I feel like he needs him, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Kenny Smith, all these people, Stephen A. Smith, all these people, if you go punish Kyrie, you need to get on air, get on TV, and ask them why they not punishing Jeff Bezos, the man who actually runs Amazon. Why is Adam Silver, if what Kyrie said was so did or whatever, what he did was so anti-Semitic, why isn't Adam Silver and all these other reporters, the only people, TMZ just recently came out and said that Jeff Bezos needs to address this. Other than that, I haven't heard none of these reports. Nobody else say, well, why Jeff Bezos selling the movie on Amazon and blah, 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 blah. Even though that movie, that movie has been on Amazon for years. Why did it take Kyrie Irving to just post a link of it for now everybody to be upset about it? But yeah, that's the only thing right now I have a problem with Shannon Sharpe is I want him, if you go try to get on Kyrie, I want you to get on Jeff Bezos too. But Shannon Sharpe always he go in on Tom Brady, he go in on Baker Mayfield. People, oh man, this is my problem with black people. black people, for some reason, don't want to hold other black people accountable. When black people do some shit, you don't want black people to call them out on the shit that they did. Oh man, Shannon, man, you too hard on Cam Newton. Oh man, Shannon, man, you too hard on Antonio Brown. Hell no. That's why Antonio Brown was able to act the way he acted for many years, because nobody called him out on his shit. All the people that sat there and just enabled Antonio Brown for all them years, like he was out there doing stupid shit, just, yeah, AB, man, you right, dog. You right. I'm telling you, AB ain't been the same. Antonio Brown ain't been the same since Vontaze Burfict hit his ass in the playoffs. AB went after Ben Roethlisberger. He went after Juju Smith-Schuster. He went after Mike Mayhack, whatever the dude from the Raiders was. He was crying about the helmet. He went after the masseuse, whatever, sent her. How the hell the person that you talking about, you go tag them in the text message. You go put them in the text message to your friends. Then you go after Tom Brady. Then you go after Bruce Arians. And then all these people around you think this shit all right. They think this shit normal. They not calling this shit out. Them are fake ass friends, if you ask me. If my homeboy or my homegirl can't call me out when I'm in the wrong, that I don't need to be around them motherfuckers. Because they only there. I don't know what the fuck they there for. I don't know if they get enjoyment out of this shit or what. But Antonio Brown should have been called out. Shannon Sharpe called out Brett Favre. Oh, black people praise Shannon Sharpe for calling out Brett Favre. But then if he say something about Kanye West, oh, see, man, Shannon, man, you always bringing down the black man. Like, I don't get it. And that's why black people, we never go win that way. Because you never go have, like, you don't see other races doing the shit that we do. But yeah, that's why I got Shannon Sharpe on the list. And last on the list of black commentators, I have Stephen A. Before I even jump into Stephen A, my thing about Stephen A that I don't like the most is that motherfucker be yelling. I can't do the yelling shit. Like, that's some female, like he say he had some sisters, and like you can kind of tell because the way he yells, that's some female tendency type shit. Like, I couldn't be next to Stephen A. Smith with him doing all that yelling and shit in my ear. Like, me and him, we would get into it. You're not about to yell in my damn ear. But Stephen A. Smith, his ass like to play both sides of the fence, too. He talk about, oh, you need black coaches and this and that. Why aren't there any black owners and all this shit? And then he'll go take pictures with Sheriff Clark and all that shit. Or he'll blame, oh man, well this person, it's his own fault that he got killed or shot or some shit like that. So Stephen A. Smith, he likes to play both sides of the fence too. Another thing about Stephen A. Smith that I don't really like is how he did Kwame Brown. Like, you can tell just by listening to Kwame Brown talk from his podcast and shit that he still hurt from shit from 20 years ago, man. Stephen A. Smith still doubling down on that shit. He gotta admit that, hey, you were wrong, fool. Like, you went after this dude. You expected a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid to be this professional at that age. Like Stephen A. Smith, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, all them people were too hard on Kwame Brown. Like, they killed that man's confidence at a young age. Kwame Brown confidence was just gone. Like, the way they just berated him and stuff and made fun of him on national TV and in interviews and stuff, Kwame Brown was never going to be the same after that, man. And that man was still able to play 10 years in the NBA. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith, probably the most recognizable black commentator nowadays. But yeah, that's my list of 11 black commentators and how the different styles, how they commentate different sports and stuff. And this is a list of like all-time black commentators. James Brown. You got Charles Barkley. Rest in peace to Stuart Scott. I miss Stuart Scott, man. He was funny. Kerry Champion, Bomani Jones, Stephen A. Smith, Deion Sanders. Congratulations to him. He out there at Jackson State doing big things. Hope he continue to grow out there in Jackson State because they need him. We need more black coaches at HBCUs. Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, Candace Parker, Marcellus Wiley, Jamel Hill, Maria Taylor, Amar Rashad. Growing up, I used to love watching Amar Rashad on like Inside the NBA Inside Stuff. Tom Jackson, him and Chris Berman. I used to love watching Primetime Sunday Night Countdown with those two. Mark Jackson, who should have still been in the NBA coaching. Chris Webber, my favorite power forward of all time. Dominique Foxworth played for my Broncos with Darren Williams, RIP Darren Williams. Keyshawn Johnson, be on there with Jay Williams and Max Kellerman. Reggie Miller on TNT, be calling the game with Kevin Harlan. Brian Gumble, Pam Oliver. Michael Strahan doing big things nowadays. Chris Broussard, Michael Wilbon, Jason Whitlock, Rob Parker, Michael Irvin, who'll be on First Take, and he still be working with NFL Network, I think. Jalen Rose, Kevin Garnett, Kurt Menefee, and Chris Carter. Chris Broussard replaced Brandon Marshall, who replaced Chris Carter on First Things First. I still don't remember what happened. I think Chris Carter got into it with the people and yelled at him or something, so they fired him, I think. But anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like and comment. More videos coming soon. Trey T out. Peace.